go-to partner that helps keep your healthcare facilities ready for patients. Because there's no time to manage orders and deliveries from multiple suppliers, Grainger offers everything in one place.
Good morning, Northwest Indiana. You're listening to WJOB 1230 AM, 104.7 FM in beautiful Hammond, Indiana. Streaming live on the YouTubes. You will see that if you're watching on that, Chuck isn't here today. You're stuck with me. We're going to go till about 8 o'clock today. 8 o'clock, Jim's coming in. Going to be talking with Michelle Henderson from Lansing and going to talk about everything that they've got going on at Fox Point. Then at 8:30, I'm back at 8:30 with State Comptroller. They used to call that position the State Auditor, but with State Comptroller Elise Nishala, and we're going to talk about the state surplus and what she's doing to combat debt nationwide. So that'll be later on today. But for right now, I know you're interested in traffic and weather. So traffic, as I look, you get the worst traffic report ever when I'm around, and everything's looking fine. The only hiccup that I saw was on 94 West going into the city. They're doing some work at the merger, perhaps. So some stop and go traffic at 94-57 where they merge. Aside from that, traffic's looking good, but it is only 6:01 in the region, so there's that. How's weather looking?
Good morning, everyone. Today we're at 74 degrees with highs of 89 and lows of 70. We'll be having low clouds and fog, breezy, very warm and humid. A few afternoon storms, some severe. Then tomorrow on Tuesday, we'll be having highs of 77 and lows of 63, mostly sunny, breezy, less humid, and not as warm. Then Wednesday, we'll be having highs of 80 and lows of 61. Should be sunny, pleasant, with low humidity.
Sounds wonderful. I woke up this morning, and I keep some shades pulled, some curtains pulled in the house, just because that's the best way to keep the heat out and the cool air in. Woke up, peeked out, and I just saw the humidity. I thought, oh, it's going to be a gross one, because anytime you wake up at 5 in the morning and you see your windows covered in humidity, now you could say, Bob, you keep the house too cold, but there's no such thing. So Chuck's not here today, so that means we get to rant about all the normal things, but without Chuck's usual flair. So there's that. Next Monday, I'm down in Indy, got to do work stuff. Chuck has another obligation, so he won't be here. So who knows what you're going to get next Monday? My guess is Jed. So thoughts and prayers. Good luck with that. So I have a couple things I'd like to get off my chest this morning. Flock cameras and data centers. The news recently over the weekend that the data center that was planned, though not a data center planned, just the zoning for a possible data center, but that's how these things work. That was scrapped in Munster. And of course, if you've been on any of the community chat rooms anywhere, everybody's all deflock this, deflock that. They're cutting down the cameras everywhere. So I'd like to talk about that, and I don't know. I find myself more supporting the cameras than you might think, and I'd like to explain why. But if you've got any thoughts with it, 219-845-1100. Remember, if you don't call in, you've got to listen to me. Oh, maybe that's what you got to listen to me on WJOB. I know. Stupid dad joke. So 219-845-1100. Give me a call. I did ironically, a chat GTP search and said, okay, tell me the difference between flock cameras, which everybody's in a tizzy about, to which I'll say, you're in a tizzy on social media, on a phone, all of which is tracking you at all times anyways. So I don't necessarily buy the, my privacy. If you are on a road, if you're driving down Indianapolis Boulevard, I don't necessarily know that you have an expectation of privacy when you're in public. So, you know, I don't know. That's my first thought on that. So I did a quick Google, and I said, hey, flock cameras and their traditional LPR style cameras, because really the idea of flock cameras, this is relatively new in the on the airwaves and on the internet, and so I never really heard a whole lot of pushback on LPRs aside from folks like Chuck. I never heard much pushback, and now seriously, within the last 6 months, everybody is flock cameras. Flock cameras, they're bad. It's AI. They're tracking your facial recognition, and you know, whatever it may be. And so it really is dependent on which system the community uses. And I'll be honest with you, I'm seeing some of these flock cameras come up, and I don't know that it's I don't know. But we've got a caller, so let's see what you've got. Good morning, caller. You're on the air. We can try that again. Good morning, caller.
Hi. Hello?
Hey,
Hello?
how's it going? How's it going?
Yeah, I figure I'll be the first one. I guess I beat the professor, huh?
You did.
You know? Yeah. You know, I'll stop you from talking about data centers and blah, blah, blah for a minute.
You're going to talk about Pierogi Fest, aren't you?
Well, I'll talk about something, but you said, boy, I can just see the humidity. You know what? I just went and looked out my window, and I can't see it, but I could feel it. How can you see humidity? Maybe I should get your glasses from you.
You should. So
are those different kind of glasses?
Yes, they're fat guy glasses. I tend to keep my house between like 68 and 70 degrees. You must have got them
from Disney. You must have probably gone Disney when you were down in Disneyland.
They're the special Disney glasses. So no, I typically keep my house between 68 and 70 because I like it cold. I also like it cold in the winter. But anytime you keep it that relatively cold, and I wake up and I see just that condensation, I know it's going to be nasty outside because really, if it's condensing on 70 degrees, yeah, it's nasty.
You know, this weekend, they finished up the Pierogi Fest, but a band that I cover a lot of times, Sounds of Santana. They played Friday night there.
Oh, they're really good.
Then they had to play Saturday night in Hobart. Then he came back to the Pierogi Fest Sunday because he was talking to me, Dave, the lead singer, Sunday. He says, yeah, I played solo or something 3 hours back at the Pierogi Fest, and then he comes over to Blue Top, and then he plays there, But the thing about Jim Dietlow, when I was filming the Hospice of Calumet area had their car show Sunday over there on Superior in Munster, I was over there filming it, and a guy in an orange shirt come up and it said 41 labors, He goes to me, he says, he knows who I am probably. He says, you think Jim Dietlow's going to be here? I says, nah. This is why. He ain't got a baseball, he ain't got a football, he ain't got a basketball, and he ain't got golf clubs in his hands. He's not going to come look at cars. Anything with baseball, basketball, football, Jim Deedle will be there, or he's probably swimming in the YMC pool, staying cool.
Hot yoga.
But it was so nice, everything around this area, all the things going on and all the shows and festivals around this area, everybody had a good time. I heard some comments, and seen and heard from so many people that there's had all these other things going on around in, the region area and Northwest and Porter County and everywhere. And everybody just had a good weekend. But if Paul's listening, he made a comment on one of my pictures. Paul, maybe you could type to me. He commented, says, what's wrong with this picture? Well, the guy's hungry. If you take a look at that big banana split from Blue Top, it makes, I won't say the name of another ice cream place around here, but it makes it look like Tiny Tim, The guy was hungry. But, so, did you go to Pierogi Fest?
I did not. Much to my shame, by the time I realized that the weekend was getting away from me, it was then Sunday, and yeah, it was hotter Sunday than it was Friday. I really missed my opportunity. Friday and Saturday were just great weather days to be out there. I think it was Saturday. I was just doom scrolling at some point and seeing everyone's pictures, and it looked so crowded. Maybe we can get Big Frank's
day
call
on
and
your
see how
show
they did. But it looked just freakishly crowded, which is great.
The other day when you were on the show, you're talking about when you was down Disneyland, you had a kitchen sink.
Yes.
Okay. Well, right away I got to thinking, because in Portage, JJ's Pizza has a kitchen sink pizza. I mean, it's, God, you better be hungry if you want one of them pizzas. And then also you're talking about ice cream and everything. I'm like, oh, that's cool. Now, just curiosity, it's in a kitchen sink, right?
Yes, yeah. So they bring it in a big cast, kitchen sink. It's huge.
Was your dessert in that kitchen sink? Was that sink clean and sanitized before they washed dishes? Before they gave it to you?
I'm gonna hope it was, but let's be honest. They put down a big old tub of ice cream, quite literally a tub of ice cream. So. All
right. Well, I'm gonna let you guys all go and yakety yak, and it's Monday. We ain't got too many more days till hump day, and then finally Friday will be here. So everybody, with the weather, the heat, and everything, just make sure you drink liquids, take care of your household pets, and everything, and everybody just have a wonderful week and be safe this week. Okay, Doke?
Hey, have a good one. Thanks for calling in. And yes, you get the prize today. You beat Walt. So maybe we'll hear from him next. Have a good one. We got another caller. Good morning. You're on the air.
Walt's calling in.
Hey, there you go. Oh, you were a guy behind. I think that was Trucker Mike's goal, is just to call in, try to beat Walt, and he did today. So how are you doing, Walt?
Seems okay. Some good news out of Michigan City. They're having their full week of activities involving the boat races. That's, if you've never seen it, it's very impressive, and it's a big event. And the boat people are very friendly, and walk around, talk to people, see what they're doing and so forth. They're very happy to talk about their boats and their activities on the water. Have you ever been to it?
I've never been. Tell me all about it.
Well, it's a big deal, and lots of events going on, lots of food trucks, and the usual array of restaurants on Franklin, which is the main north-south drag in Michigan City. That's as much as I can say. And it's a major event, worthwhile checking out at least once.
Sounds like something good to take Liam to.
Yeah.
My kid.
Yeah. Liam is your kid, right?
Yeah, he's 10 years old and likes all things that 10-year-old boys like. Boats and trucks and sports, and he is all boy.
Oh yeah. 10-year-old boy will be very, very pleased to be taken there, and it's exciting, friendly environment, and being able to watch the boats roar along and so forth. At that age, they love the sound of the roar of cars, whatever.
Yeah.
Have you taken it to the Indy time trials?
No, I have not. He has a bit of a sensory thing, and so I've been slightly nervous to take him to that, just because it's so loud. But we've also taken him to all sorts of concerts and sporting events, so I think he'd be just fine. Just haven't taken him down to Indy yet.
Okay, well, when you say sensory, I mean he has bothers his hearing?
Sometimes the loud noises is a lot for him, so he will. So we'll take him to, again, sporting events. We'll take him to concerts. We bring some headphones for him, and sometimes he wears them, sometimes he doesn't, just depending on his mood and what's going on. But I just went to the Indy 500 for the first time ever just this year, and so I'm up in the stands and I've got some earplugs in, and admittedly I took the earplugs out because I thought I want to hear what this is like just in real time there, and it was so cool. I mean, I only did it for a lap or two and I put them back in because it was like that's enough, but. I think he would get a kick out of it. We were debating whether or not to go to either the time trials or the actual race next year. I have been wanting to take him to. Occasionally, you'll see over in Illinois. I think they may have had it in Hammond once or twice. They'll bring that monster truck jam. I think he'd get a kick out of that. I think that'd be kind of cool.
Well, the thing about the time trials, you can sit anywhere you want. It's not mobbed. so you don't have to worry about losing your kid along the way. But given the size of the stadium and so forth, you could get you don't have to
find a decent
my kids
spot.
Wanted to something to accommodate his hearing thing. My kids wanted right up as close as possible. They just loved to see the
Oh, he would eventually make his way to the fence, just to watch it, and he's. But I think I think his need for adrenaline overtakes any of his sensory issues, so he'd like to be right up there.
Think time trials. I'd say that should be his first exposure, and if he likes it well enough, maybe then take him to the actual event. As having grown up in East Chicago, I'm really amused to hear these Democrats, when they talk about voter fraud and so forth, insisting nothing here, nothing here. I was watching News Nation, which is kind of a centrist cable news show, and on the 25th, and they reported that the government's sending out to states lists of people who are illegals, and what they found was in New Jersey, something like over 6,000 people who are not citizens were registered to vote in New Jersey.
Yeah, I think on just one I think I'll call it a passive report, just a cursory scan of their thing. I think it was 6,600 folks that they found were non-citizens on the voter rolls.
Right. California, 81,000.
Yeah.
And when you consider how close elections tend to be, we don't need thousands of people not authorized to vote to be allowed to vote. I mean, it's you can see why the Democrats are so. I mean, they oppose violently just the idea of requiring people to show a simple ID. Kind of thing. They go crazy about that. It's racist.
What I don't understand are, and we've had some of these folks call into the radio station, which you're more than welcome to call in, folks, and share your side. What I don't get are the folks that say, hey, look, okay, big whoop, there's 81,000 over there, there's 6,000 over here, there's 3 over here. Who cares? It doesn't matter. Yet when the Republicans try to step in and say, well, you know what? Let's try to have this even playing field where there's none. There's none. Then it's you guys you hate everyone. This is voter suppression, voter oppression. Why would you do any of this? And the number is so small it wouldn't matter. Okay, well, if it's so small and it doesn't matter, then let's, pass some type of legislation that says only citizens should vote in the country of which they live. That should be fairly easy to stomach, to swallow for folks. And so it is. They're attempting to live in the two different realities at once. It's that it's not a problem
Talking
whatsoever,
out of
but if
both
it's
sides of their mouth.
there, it's so small it doesn't matter.
Yeah. It seems as if, I've made the point over these airways that if you have a party that is disrespectful about the integrity of the treasury box of the public's, why would they be more respectful of the voting box? It doesn't make any sense, and particularly if you grow up in a area like in Northwest, like Lake County, Indiana, or Crook County in Illinois, to talk about nothing here to see is ridiculous. I mean, it's nonsensical. Let's talk about something positive. I went over to take in the steakhouse in Hammond.
Freddy's?
Freddy's Steakhouse.
Yeah.
Yes, that's it. I stopped for lunch. First, reading the article in the paper about Freddy's, they were being advised by this television program to drop lunch. So when I drove over there, I wasn't sure whether anybody would be open, but in fact it was. And their lunches are Tuesday to Friday, and I had the special. For the volume and the quality of the food, I thought it was very reasonable. And they have an early bird special Tuesday to Friday from 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. And you have a choice of two boneless pork chops, chopped steak with grilled onions, chicken Alfredo with garlic bread, fried whitefish, half slab of ribs for $14.95. Wow. Plus you have the choice of various sides type thing. But I hadn't eaten at Freddy's in some time, but boy, that place has been really spruced up. The TV people poured a lot of money into it, and if you haven't eaten at Freddy's for a while, take a look. I mean, they've really done a nice job of shall we say, upgrade its look, and of course the food is as good as ever. I mean, they've always had great food and great service, and it's a nice traditional kind of place that are going out of business all across the country, and it's Last of the Mohicans, and I would highly recommend getting over there for lunch or try the early bird special. Have you ever eaten there recently?
Not recently, no. It's been years. When my grandmother, before she passed several years ago, she lived in Hammond, and that was always one of those spots where she'd like to go. It's not a chain restaurant, certainly that mom and pop vibe, and since she passed, we just have not been back there. But with it being back in the news, certainly with the TV show, we thought, we'll go give it a try. At some point, we'll put it in the rotation and give her another shot. Hey, Walt, I gotta take a break here. I'm getting some flapping arms from my producer to take a break. Thanks for calling in. Appreciate it. Unfortunately, you were number 2. Trucker Mike beat you today. We'll try harder next time. Sound good? That
hung
works.
up on him already.
Oh, you hung up on him already.
Sorry.
Oh, that's all right. We'll be back in a few.
Need clean energy without the junk? I'm Jim Diedlow. I used to live on burgers, football, basketball, baseball. Now I'm gluten-free and more into biking, golf, and yoga. But I still need energy. That's why I love Paradise, developed by Emily D. Edwards right here in Cherville. My favorite is Paradise Packs Strawberry with gluten-free pretzels. Find it soon at Strachan Van Til or at spreadparadise.com.
Fox Point bursts with free concerts throughout July. Our Wednesday night concert series features Hairbangers Ball, Hello Weekend, All-American Throwbacks, and Keith Jackson and the Triple Dose Band. Enjoy the Northwest Indiana Symphony Orchestra on Friday, July 17th, and come back for Marrakesh Express and Echoes of Pompeii on Friday, July 31st. Fox Point in Lansing, Illinois is just minutes from I-8094 and parking is free. Visit foxpoint.org for our full schedule. That's point with an E, foxpoint.org.
The best just got better. Tech Credit Union is proud to celebrate being recognized with Best of the Region, Best CEO, and Best Banker. To celebrate, we're offering 3 special CD offers with rates up to 4.5% APY for a limited time. Visit techcu.org or stop by your nearest Tech Credit Union branch or call 800-276-8324 to learn more. Tech Credit Union, the better option for people and communities we serve. Member NCUA, minimum deposit required, offer subject to change. Visit techcu.org for complete details.
IBEW Local 697 electrical contractors bring the highest standard of electrical work to Lake County homes, schools, and businesses. From everyday fixes to once-in-a-lifetime builds, we don't just get the job done, we get it done right and up to the highest safety standards. When you need electrical work, hire the professionals who power Indiana. Powering Indiana, Lake County, bringing excellence to the job, creating a brighter future for our community.
There's something for everyone at HealthLink's Community Health Fair. Join us Tuesday, July 28th from 3:30 to 5:30 at the Boys and Girls Club in East Chicago for no-cost adult health care screenings, free food, games, prizes, and family fun. No-cost wild child checkups and sports physicals will be available the week of the event at HealthLink East Chicago and HealthLink East Chicago Harbor West. If possible, insurance will be billed. Call HealthLink at 888-580-1060 extension 5401 or 5901 to schedule your child's no-cost appointment today.
Welcome back to whatever Chuck's show is called, but Chuck's not here, so it's mine. So, whatever. You're listening to WJB 1230 AM, 104.7 FM in beautiful Hammond, Indiana. Streaming live on the YouTubes, 219-845-1100. We're taking your calls today. I started not a Chuck rant. I started talking about flock cameras, LPR cameras, and why I think some of it is selective anger, and then we got sidetracked by you all, and that's perfectly fine. We've got half a dozen callers, 3 callers, 4 callers, whatever it is. So we're just going to listen to you today, and whatever you want to talk about, I'm here for. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Morning, Bob.
Good morning. Hey, what's a good word?
Well, I don't want to be caller number 1. I don't want to be caller number 2. I'm the man. I'm MX the man. You got that understood?
I do. We'll mark that down. Caller number 3 is the man every day. How about that?
No, I'm not number 3. Don't put me like I don't want to be number 1. I don't want to be number 2. I'm MX the man. Now, we got a long conversation here. First of all, Freddy's Steakhouse, we're not allowed in there no more, MX cartoons. We had the parking lot filled. The side streets were filled for the Christmas party. And the host told me, you could ask Matt Reardon, that we've never had this many people, and we never sold that much liquor at the bar. Next thing you know, MX, you're not allowed to bring your party here. I don't know why, but we'll leave it at that. Now, let's talk Liam and why MX is the man. We know that MX is. Now we know MX is. If you Google him, you'll find out that he's a motocross champion in all over the Midwest in the country, a national rider, a state boy. So I tested the waters to see if I could get into this Hall of Fame, and that's just, we're just playing with that. And if I don't make it, I know who I am.
We all know who you are.
But as a little child, I was, they threw golf in front of my face. You know what I'm saying? I was introduced to golf. I was introduced to basketball. And I was introduced to a bunch of team sports. Then all the kids on the block started getting mini bikes and dirt bikes. And I asked my dad, I said, hey, Dad, I said, every kid here's got a dirt bike.
If
So,
this is going where it's
after my
Liam's not getting a motorbike.
no, that's not a good father.
Oh,
No, I
he's an
spent all
adrenaline
this time
junkie.
building Motoland. I spent 2 years building Motoland. They got a nice little track. He could be his own person instead of a follower. You got him, after what I'm hearing, oh, let's go to a concert. Oh, let's go and watch somebody race. Why, when he can be involved in his own race, in his own mechanical skills? Why would you do that? Tell me why you wouldn't let him have a dirt bike.
He's an adrenaline junkie. I'd much rather him do his flag football, his ninja stuff, his the swim, do all that stuff.
Ninja stuff.
Oh yeah. Oh, he's incredible at parkour. He can run up a wall. We're friends on Facebook.
That sounds like MX. No.
But then that's
I
just
used to
him
run
falling.
up
It's
walls.
not him falling with a couple 100-pound bike falling on him, or no.
That ain't gonna happen. You know what? You need to go out to Motoland. Right before I retired in 2005, we started building Motoland in 2004, and they're open every weekend. They got a mini track. You don't ever have to race, but if he's got that much adrenaline and he's got that much, it'll slow him up a little bit, and it'll be good for him. You'll have to buy a lot of Craftsman tools. But to say, no, I don't want to do that, when you watch the motocross race this weekend and there's 50,000 people there, I'll tell you what, I'm glad I wouldn't grow up under you. That's just wrong. That's not Are you against fishing too?
I've never been fishing.
Oh, God almighty.
I know. Worst person in all of Lake County, right?
That's child abuse.
I know. Call DCS. Yep.
You got to take what I'm trying to tell you, when it's all over, and high school's all over, and there's no more team sports he can get into, he's going to be twiddling his thumb. Now, he's a motocrosser. He'll fix his bike. He don't have to race. That you really got to be nuts to race. And from what I'm hearing, if he's walking up walls, he's like MX. He could be Little MX. I'm going to call him Little MX. He sounds just like I did. And when high school's over with and the team sports is all over with, he'll always have his dirt bike to go back on. He'll be when he's 25 years old and some girl breaks his heart, he could always go riding with his buddies. I think you need to go out and rent the movie on any Sunday. And on any Sunday, they were men. You had Steve McQueen, okay? He loved dirt bikes. He was on a Husqvarna, and he was with Mert Lawmill and got the other guy. Gosh, I should get cream for that.
And we will.
And that
in
is
the
the
comment
movie
section.
you got to go home and rent tonight. I'm going to make you do your homework. Put the ninjas away, okay? Because you don't want them playing with ninjas at 30 years old. That don't sound good. Bring home a fishing pole tonight,
To say.
and you go home and you rent the movie on any Sunday with Malcolm Smith, Steve McQueen, and Mert Lawwell. And you'll find out. No, let him watch that, and he'll want a dirt bike, and the MX will take him out to Motoland. Now, I'm grandfathered in there.
Okay.
Whoa, what am I doing wrong?
You're not doing anything
I'll
wrong.
call
I was
MX.
just telling you, I've got a boat full of callers here, and I'm aside from saying that I'm a terrible parent for not giving my
Well,
kid a
is he
motorbike.
listening right now? Because I'm going to get to him. I'm going to follow you everywhere until Liam says, I watched the movie and I want to try a dirt bike, Dad, and fishing.
Yes. I want
Well,
a
give
new
him
dad,
a chance.
Dad.
You can't do that to him. You got to give him a chance at it. And if he says no, then it's no. But you just can't say no. He's not getting a dirt bike. That's terrible. It makes me. You're not gonna. Okay. Are you still there?
No, no, no. I'm done. Hey, you have a good one.
I reamed you pretty good, didn't I?
Yeah, you did.
What are you going to do tonight? What's your homework? And I'm going to let you go. What's your homework?
I don't know. Probably grill out and.
You're gonna rent
no.
the
You know
movie
what?
on-
Here. Before I give the signal to go.
You want me to come over with the movie?
No.
I'll make it
Ninja.
easy on you. You want me to come over with the movie on any Sunday in a fishing pole?
We've got Ninja Train tonight. So why don't you come on out and
I'm done with you. Get the movie on any Sunday.
I'm done with
start
you too. Done with you too. Have a good one. Next caller. Good morning. How are you doing?
Well, I'm doing okay.
Hey.
Very nice
how you doing?
weekend. Very nice weekend.
So, but before you get into your call, you called on Friday. It was great.
Mm-hmm.
But you have not called into one of my shows for a very long time. And I thought, oh man, did I do something?
Well, were you the guy when my alarm went off one time? You told me I'm gonna set you off. I said, now how did you hear alarm thing going off and he cut me off? So maybe that was the reason. I thought it was kind of rude that I'm just gonna. You asked the question, so I'm busy.
Yeah, no,
that doesn't say anything about.
That doesn't sound like something I'd say. I don't think that was me.
Like something Chuck would say.
I was gonna say it sounds like something Chuck would say. I'm looking at that. I was like, that doesn't sound like me.
Oh, okay. Now what's your name?
I'm Bob. Hi, Bob.
Oh, Bob. Okay. Let me just go further. I have been a precinct commitment for 23 years, and I do know that I'm hearing this people cheating and voting and after, and it's terrible because I know that right now in my polling place I determine who's going to be the inspector, who's going to be the clerk and all that, and judge. They also have Republicans within that same thing. Am I right or wrong? You have Republicans in that polling place, right?
Yeah.
Are you there?
Oh, yeah.
Hello?
Am I there? Can you hear me?
Yeah. Oh, I'm saying they do have Republicans inside those polling places, right?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, I'll answer for you. Yes, they do. Okay. So I'm just simply saying that I hear all these things, this illegal voting and people not. I know when people come into my polling place, if it's not right, they'll say, "Hey, no, you have to go and get this thing, and then you come back when you got everything right." That's what it's done, and by having the Republicans and the Democrats within that polling place, I don't see it. I think this thing of voter fraud. They have never been able to prove for voter fraud. I think the President of the United States sent somebody to Georgia, and the Republicans said down there, now that was an honest election. So I'm just simply saying it seems to me when you win, and that's the case with a lot of time with Republicans, and I'm not going to beat down Republicans because Republicans, you got a lot of good Republicans. You had three of them was defeated here in this county. In the county, yes. Three of them was because they didn't care Trump water, So you got three more. So now those three will probably be running this time around because they got Trump support and everything. So I'm just simply saying that Trump is basically start this stuff, voter fraud. The vice president of the United States under Donald Trump said he certified the election because that was his job and he had no way. But look what happened. So I'm just simply saying that we need to get this thing straight. Yes, there's some bad Democrats. There's some bad Republicans. I'm saying both sides, okay? Both sides.
There were good people on both sides.
That's what I'm saying. There are good people on both sides. But it seems to me, I hear on this radio, all the Democrats are all bad. Mervan, he ain't no good. He's not right, But again, you got Mervan have had opposition, I think, every 2 years, which I think every 2 years is too often because when a person go in office, they automatically running for the next year. It should be 4 years like anything else. And voter fraud, what I'm just simply saying that right now, we need to get over this. When you win, no problem. But when you lose, it's voter fraud, but you can't prove it. And you know that, Anybody on the sound of my voice who are listening now know that every time Trump
to
when he wins,
if we're going to be fair about that, it's both sides. 2-3 months ago, Hillary Clinton was still on the news saying that Russia collusion stole her election.
Okay.
So you know,
but what did she do? She said, "Okay, you won, Trump, you won," and she went to the inauguration. When Trump lost, he went rather than go there when Biden was inauguration. Usually, the presidents would have the decency to go and say, well, "This is the person." He heads to Florida. He didn't even go to the inauguration. You know, so I'm just simply saying that right now, I want to call it both sides. There were some bad Democrats in the past, and I said this before. In the South, I came up in the South. George Wallace, segregation today, segregation tomorrow, forever. He was the governor. You probably did. I've never heard the name George Wallace. You're probably too young to even hear the name of George Wallace. Lester Maddox and all those things. So I'm just simply saying that it is time for us to come together as people, and regardless that if you have some good, I think Holcomb was a good governor. You might say, oh, he's terrible. And again, you know, we have people who want to serve in government right now. It's not a good thing. I served in government for 2 terms on the Calumet Township Trustee Board. I was a board member. And I believe that right now I was there to serve people. And as I heard this past weekend when they had a big rally, the Democrats had a big rally, get out the vote thing, and Mervan, and we had the sheriff, Jerry Williams is apparently running. Good, and it was so much love in there. And that's what I'm saying. This hate stuff. If they beat Mervan, so be it. We welcome that. We say, hey, good luck. But I'm saying what Mervan was talking about. He was talking about health care and stuff in America. Well, people right now having a problem right now, health care, and that ought to be a number one. Why would some be so this thing with voter fraud? Why don't we talk about health care? Why don't we talk about that? Why don't, you know, and I think these are the issues that people ought to concern. And right now, Republicans better be careful because midterms right now is coming around. If they lose the House and the Senate, it's over for Donald Trump, okay? Take care. Have a blessed day.
Hey, have a good one. We're going to take another call, and then we're going to take a break. I'm so excited. Who do we have on their phone?
It's your boy.
Oh, look at that. It is. Someone in the comments said this is like the WJOB, VIP hour. All of our best callers here by 6:41 in the morning. I don't know what we're going to do the rest of the day. You've all come and spoke, so we're good.
Yeah, best by, you mean best as like dumbest on that last one there? Because I think he voted for Obama, and he wanted Obamacare, and he got it. And now it sucks because we all knew it was going to suck because it was rigged. So eat that health care, Matlock. You wanted it. You bribed everybody to get it. And now you got it. We told you it was going to be a failure. It was a big money laundering scam for health insurance companies to make money, not to provide health care. Eat it, Matlock. Go sell more watermelons to pay for your health care. That sucks. Too bad for you. Now, regarding
how are you
doing? I'm doing fantastic. Hey, you want to know what I did last night at Wahala Beach at the pier by the Water Sanitation Department in Hammond?
Do I want to know?
As I'm getting ready to leave, there's a fire truck there. And I'm looking, I'm like, what are those guys doing? And there's firemen laying on the ground looking into the sewer grates. And we're like, what the hell? It turned out a mother duck was walking across with 9 ducklings. She kept walking. The little guys got scared, made an immediate U-turn, and literally walked right into the grate and fell into the sewer. So the firemen tried their best to get them out. They couldn't get them out. We got 5 out and rejoined them with the mother, but unbeknownst to us, it apparently, nature has dictated that mother ducks are not the most
I guess you'd say, cognizant of keeping track of how many ducks they produce.
So she was fine with the 5. She got a few back, and she was okay with that?
She unfortunately was fine with the 5 and swam away, but we kept delivering them one at a time to the mom. And then when she got up to 5, she said, well, I got to go, and swam away. And we followed her as best we could. We dropped 1 to her, 2, and she's moving along up the pier, and then the 3, 4, 5. And then after that, we lost track of her. We still had 4 in the sewer. We did get them all out. And right now, I am the proud father of 4 baby ducklings in my kitchen in a container with lettuce. Honest to God, I had them in a milk container to start, brought them home. And now I've got them in a big plastic bin. And I'm going to be taking them back out to the lake shortly because I'm told
no, so here's the thing. So by that light, you could find any random duck, drop them off, and they'll think, oh, hell, okay, I got 4 kids now. They won't know.
That is literally what I've got a couple relatives who are very much into the saving every fly and mosquito and rat and mice and, oh, don't kill a fly with a fly swatter. Cup them and take them outside. Oh, my God, So I had about 5 people Googling things and giving me advice last night, and they're like, a lot of mom ducks, man, you just drop them with a couple more babies, toss them in the litter, and hopefully they'll take care of them. Other than that, I'm going to have to take them to the wildlife place if I can get them to call me back. But, yeah, quite the interesting night, though. But, hey, what I want to find out regarding a couple things, when Walt goes to the boat show, I wonder what kind of cardigan or what color he wears when he goes there. And regarding the Indy 500 with the time trials, if your son is the adrenaline little guy, he'll love it because you can go anywhere you want. It's only like $10, but you can go in pit row. And that's just amazing because you're 10 feet from the drivers, the cars, the equipment, the changing of this, changing of that. You can walk by the garages. And literally, the drivers are standing like right there. They'll come out and give you autographs, and it's a great deal for him. I'm sure. Unless he's not autistic or anything like that, right?
He's on the spectrum, but he'd be fine. He'd love it. He'd love it.
Oh, so he's got his headphones. I've dealt with a lot of kids like that, but he would have a blast. He'd walk you all over the place, and you would have just a fantastic time. Oh, hey, one more thing regarding voter fraud. And this thing with New Jersey, where Matlock's going to try to tell us that Democrats are as pure as the wind-driven snow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So this knucklehead Mikey, whatever her name, Mikey Sherrill, the psychotic governor from New Jersey, comes out and says, "Hey, we had 16,000 or whatever it was, and it turned out only 400 voted, and it was the software was the problem." Well, a guy named Peter Schweitzer, who's written about 4 books on the corruption of Democrats in D.C. and in the country, he called the software company. And they said, absolutely not our fault. The default settings on all our software basically will do everything it can to kick people off the voter rolls. And it's up to the state. The software is designed to screen out the ones who should not be able to vote. It turns out the state of New Jersey changed the settings on their own, which they're allowed to do. I mean, they can let anybody who jumps off an international flight, gets here illegally, anybody they can let vote. And it turns out the state of New Jersey changed the software. 400 votes, 80,000 in California. So please, Matlock, take your idiotic theories and your Obamacare and keep calling in, because you make us look like geniuses.
Leave us with one more tidbit before you leave. What's it like being a mother to ducks? How was your night?
I'm only in my I'm not even in my 12th hour yet. The pregnancy went well, and like I said, they're in a bin in the kitchen right now.
Like a closed bin? Are you giving them air?
Oh, of course, yeah. They said you got to put like a cloth on top because they like the warmth. So I put
who doesn't?
A shallow bowl of. Now I didn't even know this, that little baby ducklings they have not been naturally waterproofed enough yet to be able to consistently swim in the water. So the mom will keep them by the shore, get them out there, and then they swim. And then she takes them up like in an area like in the rocks or, an isolated area where they can't be attacked from, predators and that. And she'll, kind of coddle them in with her wings and rub them up a lot to get her oil onto them. And then they go back and swim more. So they said, don't put put them in a bucket of water because they'll end up drowning. So it's a good sized tote. And I got a little shallow thing of water, gave him some lettuce. If I can't find the mom like in the next hour here, which I'm getting ready to walk out the door, then I got to go buy him some kind of duck. I don't know I don't even know what it is. Probably Farm and Fleet or that place in Lansing. But anybody wants to help, post it on the chat board because my maternal instincts they're good, but I've never done ducks before. I don't know what to tell you. We're trying to keep them alive, and it's a great effort because a lot of people were there. We're trying to pry the grates off the sewer, and then me and this little Mexican girl teamed up, and we're laying on the ground, and then I had a piece of peat. Well, we hooked up, and I said, hey, listen, you lay there, I'll lay here, and we're on the street, and as the ducks came closer to the grate, we tried to get them to walk up this wood, but eventually they just kept coming toward us. And, we got our arms all the way up to the shoulder and the thing. And I scooted them toward her, and she reached and plucked them out. And, we delivered them one by one. But I guess the 5 count was enough for the mom duck to say, sayonara, I got to go.
Hey, times are tough.
So now I got 4. And
inflation.
We're heading out to the lake right now, as a matter of fact. Yeah, so hopefully, these guys got to live. I can't, got to do whatever to keep these little guys alive. And
well, I got to tell you that
tomorrow.
This is my favorite call, favorite story so far today. Hey, have a good week. We're going to take a break here, and hey, if anybody's got any good duck weaning, duck caring, stories, send it in the chat, and if that doesn't work out, we'll take some duck recipes. We'll see you right back.
It's the simplest expression. The smallest thing that changes everything. A smile. So easy. A smile lights it up. Apologizes. And welcomes unconditionally. Because the shortest distance between two people is a smile.
Thank you.
Strachan Van Til, where making life easier starts with a smile.
Come to Fox Point Saturday, August 8th for an unforgettable night of classic soul and funk. Solid Ground Band opens for Shining Star, a stunning tribute to the magical music of Earth, Wind, and Fire. This special August 8th concert is free. Bring your appetite and enjoy our bar and delicious local food. Fox Point in Lansing, Illinois is just minutes from I-8094 and parking is free. Visit foxpoint.org for details. That's point with an E, foxpoint.org.
From the gas in your car to the heat in your home and the roads that you drive on, our work powers daily life. We are USW Local 71, the proud men and women of the Whiting Refinery. We're not just refinery workers. We're your friends and neighbors, raising our families here, shopping in the same stores, and cheering in the same stands. USW Local 71, powering the region because we are the region.
We've had some cars run into the barrier wall, not paying attention. They were on their phone.
Texting, scrolling. Yeah, it's bad. Most often they be on their phones or they're just not paying attention. They can cause a crash.
We could stand on the side of the road and watch every other vehicle looking down into their lap as they're passing us. You know what they're looking at. They're looking at their phone.
Phones. On their phones, not paying attention.
Phones.
I'm not a mathematician, but I say probably about 80% of the people who pass me are on their telephones.
No call, text, or video is worth putting yourself or a road worker in danger. When driving through construction, LIUNA members ask you for your sake and ours.
Slow down, stay off your phone, please. Be aware of where we're at, where the cone zones are at.
Stay off your phones and buckle up and drive safe.
We're not asking for much.
This is Brian Short, business manager for the Indiana Laborers District Council. Everyone deserves a safe place to work. Do your part in the cone zone. Slow down, save a life. We're all in this together.
A message from Laborers International Union of North America and affiliated locals.
Welcome back. Chuck Pullen show. I'm just, I don't know, working the microphone for a while. Why Chuck has other obligations this week and next week. Who knows who's going to be sitting here next week? I'm gone. Chuck will be gone. Could be Lynette doing the entire show by herself.
I'm pretty sure Jim is coming in.
Oh, okay.
So I get an hour more of sleep.
Well, that's good. What do we got? Traffic and weather. I don't know why you guys want traffic from me because I don't know. It's an old radio thing. People like hearing traffic, but everything's fine. I mean, seriously, if you're one of those folks that travel into the city weekly, daily, you know what it's like at 7:54. You just know what it's like. Nothing outstanding. Nothing crazy to report. Even the local roads, 30, 41, everything's fine. How's the weather?
Good morning, everyone. Today we're at 79 degrees with highs of 89 and lows of 70. We're having low clouds and fog, breezy and very warm and humid. Then a few afternoon thunderstorms. Tomorrow on Tuesday, we'll be having highs of 77 and lows of 63. It'll be mostly sunny, breezy, less humid, and not as warm. Then Wednesday, we'll be having highs of 80 and lows of 61. It'll be sunny and pleasant with low humidity.
219-845-1100. Give us a call. We've had the WJOB greatest hits already call in. So anybody who's calling now, man, you've got a tall order to live up to. But we're talking everything we could talk. I never got to finish my rant on flock cameras. Data center pulling out of Munster for a million and one reasons. But let's not talk about that. Let's talk about whatever you want to talk about. Good morning, caller. You are on the air.
Good morning. How are you?
Fantastic. How are you?
Fine. I agree with you. My windows are very wet because I don't like it when it's hot outside. We'll see what happens. But I agree. It's the same people call every day to spew their politics, and I'm following the mother ducker. So to that, I
just want you to know, but before you continue, I just want you to know, so far you are my favorite caller, and the reason I say it is because you started your call with, I agree with you. So you are already the number one caller of the day. If we had something to give away, I would give it to you, but it's WJOB, so.
Well, but I was calling for two reasons. I did want to discuss the whole Munster data center. I call it data. People call it data. I don't know. Phonics taught me long A, but okay. I'm glad it's supposedly going away, but a lot of people feel it's still going to happen. I have no idea. But even more so, I heard about Freddy's on Kitchen Nightmares the day after it happened. And I don't have a high cable package, but I was able to watch it. I was amazed. I've never had a bad meal there. It always seems clean. I don't get it. Even after the takeover, I feel this is going to hurt their business. And that's all I wanted to say. Data center, Freddy's.
Okay.
I will hang up, and you guys.
No. You don't. You know what? I want to ask you something about the data centers.
Yeah.
Whatever we want to call
them. Yeah.
What are I'm just going to assume, you don't even have to correct me if I'm wrong. I'm just going to assume maybe you're a Munster resident if you were concerned about a data center going up in Munster. Whether you are or not is somewhat irrelevant. Are you someone who it sounded like you were happy that they were not going to be there? What were some of your concerns about having that type of industry somewhere in Munster?
Sure. So I live steps from where the data center would go in.
Okay.
And the noise, the light, the energy costs, these are concerns. And I feel where I live, the councilmen and everyone else, they live somewhere else and they have fabulous homes. But our area, they could care less about. I live across from a park. They don't take care of it. They don't care about my area. And so, of course, we're going to do this too. I understand, especially with C1 and all the things happening, that towns need to make money. But it's pretty tough. If I want to sell my house or what, my home is going to be valued at $2 or something. Those are my concerns.
Okay, those were all valid concerns. So, one of the things that, as a council member in Dyer, we don't really have. Most of the land that we have left has already been purchased by a developer. We've got a lot of cool things going in. Very excited about that type of development. But we don't really have a spot where, I could say, I could see a data center going there. Nobody's ever approached Dyer for a data center. But so half of me says, I'm glad I don't have to deal with this, because you look at Munster, you look at Hobart, even in South County here, anybody who is being approached by these data centers, it's on the surface, the argument is twofold. One is, hey, the residents around it, whether it's a NIMBY type crowd, the not in my backyard type crowd, or if it's, hey, we've got these concerns, not unlike the ones you just listed. Or the other side is, hey, look, guys, for 8 or 10 years, this is going to be some decent money coming in. We need to do something. In a sense, I was somewhat grateful that, I don't have to deal with that in Dyer, because I was grateful for all the things that we have to deal with. I was grateful that I didn't have to put too much thought into data centers. But what I would do is, if someone came knocking on our door and said, hey, there's a spot on Route 30 that we're going to take over, first thing I'd like to do is I'd like to go drive around, because I hear, the noise, the light pollution. I think, the light pollution, you could, we've got a dark skies ordinance in Dyer, so you can, mitigate that. And I don't know the noise. You can go on and see Reels or TikToks or whatever, and some of them just sound like a damn freight train constantly with the diesel engines running. And then other times, who was it? The guy over in Portage was like, hey, there's been one over at Ameriplex for 3 years and nobody knew it was there. So the truth has to be in there somewhere. They can't be all quiet all the time. They can't be all noisy all the time. And if we've already had some in the area, I would love, I guess my point would be is I'd love to go actually see one and see what the fuss is about.
When you mentioned Ameriplex, how far away do people live from that? Because I would say a month ago, I saw a Republican senator woman that was from Barrington Hills or something, and she passed an ordinance that any data centers they build have to be 3 miles from residential. Again, I can walk to this area from my house. And I like I say, I understand it's money for the towns. I get it. But why do we need all this? And is it crypto mining? Trump wants more and more data centers. I don't know. He's making a lot of money out of crypto mining.
Yeah, and I think that too is I will watch the either the text thread, the chat thread here on when we're on YouTube. I will go and I'll scroll through all the messages that folks post on Facebook. And I think even there's some misunderstanding about what are these data centers, so much so that I don't know that anybody can really say, is it crypto mining? Is it, just more AI generation? They say, hey, every time you go onto ChatGTP and Google, how do I make chicken soup? It takes, like 3 cups of water to cool that thing. I don't know how much any of it is. I don't want to say real in a conspiracy theorist sense. I just, it is so hard to determine what actually are they looking to put there. And I think that was the problem in Munster was maybe the messaging wasn't clear enough. I've never been by the area where they want to put it or where they did want to put it, but
yeah. it's steps from my home. More of the land is in Munster than Lansing. And when I first lived here, I worked in Chicago all week and worked at the Lansing Country Club all weekend. So I would go there Friday night after I got home from work there all day Saturday, go back Sunday morning, and go back to Chicago. Because I was a single mom and I bought a house. It's like a lot of stuff to pay for.
Yeah.
So I'm familiar with that. And they have 2 lakes that are gorgeous and stocked and wonderful. Of course, membership declined, and it wasn't a country club. It used to be Lansing Sportsman's Club. So that really makes more sense to me to call it that. Anyway, I don't want to take up any more.
No, you're fine. Hey, thanks for calling in. Appreciate it. You have a good
great
one.
Day.
We've got another caller. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Hey, good morning. I don't know whether you're even the guy to ask this, but you're more well versed in what these all this data center what it's actually procuring. I've heard a lot of people that are pro data centers, mainly the people building them, talking about how people shouldn't be complaining about data centers when they enjoy being able to stare at their phone and follow the blue line on the map. Obviously, they're talking about, the GPS and mapping capabilities and everything. But with the total explosion of data centers, did people all of a sudden start using 8 or 10 phones to get someplace? I'm a little lost as to where this greater volume of data, who's consuming it. I mean, we're all watching. I mean, how many people have Netflix and HBO Max and all these other things worldwide? And you read the numbers and they'll say, yeah, Netflix is down and Hulu is up and all this other nonsense. But there's a finite number of people, and not all the people are going to own or have all these subscriptions. I guess my question is, what is all of this data producing that basically the same number of people would have to consume, it would seem like 10 times the data in order to justify the number of data centers being built? And that's just my simplistic way of looking at it. And
here's my answer on it. I've had the exact same question. I think what you'll see in the news, again, talking heads, who knows what message they're trying to get out. They'll say, oh, well, we need this for AI to keep up with China. Okay. I don't know why 70 of them need to be built in Lake Porter and LaPorte County, to keep up with China. I don't quite. Evidently, I am now past the age of young kids keeping up with everything. I don't understand why we need so much of that. And the only answer that floats around in my head is whatever the talking heads say, which is we need this to keep up with AI. But I don't know what I don't want to sound ignorant and say I don't know what that is. I know what AI is. I don't know what that processing power looks like, why they need so much of it, why they need it here, why they don't need it elsewhere. This is not the only area with electric and water. We've got plenty of water, but our utility demands are freakishly expensive. Our land is not inexpensive. And so I think there's so much at play and so much misinformation out there that it leads to this confusion. I was just doom scrolling one of which someone will probably now post, well, that's your problem, Bob. You're doom scrolling. You're feeding into this massive social media, which is now driven by AI, which now needs all this new processing power. So maybe that's it. But folks are saying, hey, look, these data centers, they're not the ones doing the flock cameras. They're not the ones doing Netflix and HBO. They're fine telling us what they don't do, but they don't, aside from just generically saying, oh, AI. Okay, but what's it looking to do? And I don't know the answer. If someone does, hey, give us a call. But to your point, this idea of this explosion of, one, the need for data centers, the lack of understanding of what they're doing, and then the animosity in the communities. They're saying, hey, we don't want these things, like the last caller said, literally steps from my house. And I think that's where we're at. And so some of these communities are, they're either jumping the gun and saying, on either side, they're saying, yeah, go ahead and throw one up, and then who knows what it's going to be like in 10 years. Or, in some of these communities, they may be looking a gift horse in the mouth and say, nah, we don't want this because, we're not so informed as to know what it is, and so we just said no. When it could be a gold mine for a community, the answer is I don't know. So that's the longest-winded answer to not tell you anything.
But I have used ChatGPT, and I am older. I didn't even grow up with computers per se, but some of the younger people will say, yeah, you can use AI and it will find a lot of information for you. I did use it one time, several times, not just one time, but one time in particular, I used it. I inputted some data, and I'm not going to get real technical about it because it's not extremely technical in nature, but it's a lot of pressures and temperatures and their correlation and things like that. And I have a chart that gives me those numbers, but I needed to know another number and what a calculated number would have been. And in my head, I can kind of calculate it, pencil and paper. I put the information in for the equipment that I was using, and it gave me a temperature that was 20 degrees less than what it really is, what it truly is. And it told me that the other number that I had that I inputted was completely wrong because it's telling me that it should be 20 degrees colder, but it was wrong. And I entered back into ChatGPT, this is incorrect. This at this pressure is this temperature. And you know what it did?
Did it correct itself, or did it try to correct you?
It almost apologized to me for being wrong. It told me I had a good catch.
Because I've also used ChatGPT when I'm not doing this for a couple hours in the morning. I'm a senior engineer doing underground utility stuff, and I was using it the other day, maybe a week or so ago. I was going through some rupture mitigation valve stuff, and there's just a ton of calculations on that based on I'm going to just bore half the people listening. SCADA will determine that there's a flow increase, and it'll automatically shut down some valves. And so there was a lot of calculations in there, and I was using it not to figure out those calculations, but just to see, okay, what is right about this. And it was surprisingly accurate, though at the end of each one, it says, AI, you may need to check these calculations or whatever, and that was fine. So maybe that's what it is. Maybe 10 years ago, nobody was... when you would go to Google or Yahoo or any of these, and I would type in, hey, what are the calculations for, RMVs, ASVs, in engineering type stuff, it would just tell you. But now with AI, it will work through the problem with you. So maybe that's the difference between, the 10-year-old Google and the new AI world where it's working with you. And now evidently apologizing when it gets it wrong.
It was the strangest feeling in the world. That was the weirdest thing I'd ever seen when it, for the lack of a better term, it apologized to me for being wrong. It told me I had a good catch and that it would. But I think to myself, how many people could it, if you were, quote unquote, like a younger person and you were trying to check the same problem I had, you would have been completely wrong.
Right.
If you truly didn't know, it would have been completely wrong. How much is AI, how much reliance will there be on AI to build a bridge? Structurally, what you need to build that bridge.
Well, what was one of those original, going through algebra and calculus, which admittedly I was no good at, but it's the idea of garbage in, garbage out. So if I'm asking it a question, but it has been front loaded with garbage or incorrect information, you're right. You get a temperature that's 20 degrees off, and when you're doing something with any specificity, that could be a lot.
But and I guess my point is that information for the material that I was working with has been around for 30 years.
Yeah.
I mean, I actually have a chart, for various things that, pressure temperature chart for all of these. And I mean, these charts can be 30, some of them 75 years old. That data has not changed in 70 years. And I just don't understand, to get back to it, I just don't understand why the capital expenditures for all of these companies, we're spending $35 billion, we're spending $65 billion, we're spending $70 billion. If at the end of the day, all it's going to tell me is, I suppose at the end of the day, it's not its intention. They're supposed to get this worked out. But if after this information being out there for 35 years, the best it can give me is, hey, good catch, I was wrong. Man, we are spending a boatload of money for seems like very little return. One thing I did read, I'll let you go on this, is there's a different perspective. If you want to make money on AI, do not invest in the people building the infrastructure. Invest in the other, say the S&P 500, say the top 10 companies are AI. Invest in the other 490 that are going to hopefully be able to put it to use, because the top 10 may be overspending drastically. At some point, A squared plus B squared equals C squared. No matter if it's Grok, ChatGPT, I don't even know all of them. I know a couple of them.
Yeah, those are the only two I use.
Those at the end of the day, though, those numbers are accurate. Whether you sit down with a pencil and paper, I did it this past weekend. Pythagorean theorem, just make sure I had laying out a building and it was square. I mean, this is the basic stuff, and it doesn't seem to get that right. And it seems like we are spending not we, I mean, well, the companies are, and people could get seriously hurt in the end if this all pops. But there's a tremendous amount of money being spent to all come to the same correct answer. And if we have to spend that much money to find out that 2 plus 2 actually does equal 4, how valuable is it? Or if we're going to spend, how much are we going to spend to find out that 2 plus 2 equals 4, but we may not be correct? Always check with somebody else.
Hey, 2 plus 2 equals 5. Good catch. Hey, thanks for the call. We're going to take a break. We'll be right back with you.
I'm Pastor Eric Boone, pastor of the Tree of Life Church here in the great city of Gary, Indiana. The Notre Dame Credit Union. Go beyond and above to make sure that we are in position to make that greater impact. Listen, this credit union is one of a kind, and I'm looking forward to the future because I know that we will continue to do greater things together, and I'm forever grateful for a credit union like this.
Visit NotreDameFCU.com.
Hey Region, I'm T, and I grew up in East Chicago, went to college in Gary, worked out of Munster, and raised my family in Crown Point. I'm Region to the core. I created Region Hot Sauce, the flavor of the region. Added to chicken, fish, pizza, eggs, and more for the perfect blend of heat and flavor. Visit RegionHotSauce.com for a complete list of locations or to order direct. Region Hot Sauce, the flavor of the region.
We've had some cars run into the barrier wall, not paying attention. They were on their phone.
Texting, scrolling. Yeah, it's bad. Most often they be on their phones or they're just not paying attention. They can cause a crash.
We could stand on the side of the road and watch every other vehicle looking down into their lap as they're passing us. You know what they're looking at. They're looking at their phone.
Phones. On their phones, not paying attention. Phones.
I'm not a mathematician, but I say probably about 80% of the people who pass me are on their telephones.
No call, text, or video is worth putting yourself or a road worker in danger. When driving through construction, LIUNA members ask you for your sake and ours.
Slow down, stay off your phone, please. Be aware where we're at, where the cone zones are at.
Stay off your phones and buckle up and drive safe.
We're not asking for much.
This is Brian Short, business manager for the Indiana Labor's District Council. Everyone deserves a safe place to work. Do your part in the cone zone. Slow down, save a life. We're all in this together.
A message from Laborers International Union of North America and affiliated locals.
Have you ever considered becoming an iron worker? Local 395 is now accepting applications for their apprenticeship program. Go to ironworkers395.com. Look under the training section, click on apprenticeship, and scroll down to the application. You must be 18 years old, have a high school diploma or GED, and you must be physically able to perform the work of the trade. Find out more by calling the apprenticeship school in Lake Station at 219-962-7675 or visit ironworkers395.com.
Good morning, Northwest Indiana. 7:19 here on WJOB 1230 AM 104.7 FM. I think I did that at the top of the hour. If not, if those guys from the FCC are driving around, maybe they'll grant me a 19-minute grace period. Streaming live on the YouTubes everywhere. Traffic is fine. Haven't gotten any reports from Paul Goddard, who, if something really does go sideways, he'll let us know. All the 94s, all the 80s look good. Going into the city, it does look like it's slowing down. But that's typical for Monday morning, 7:20. How's the weather look?
Good morning, everyone. Today we're at 78 degrees with highs of 89 and lows of 70. We'll be having low clouds and fog, breezy and very warm and humid. A few afternoon thunderstorms. And then tomorrow on Tuesday, we'll be having highs of 77 and lows of 63. Should be mostly sunny, breezy, less humid, and not as warm. Then Wednesday, we'll be having highs of 80 and lows of 61. Should be sunny, pleasant, with low humidity.
Not low humidity this morning. I don't care what your computer over there says. It was gross. It's still gross. But you know where it's not gross now? Here in the studio. Thank you, WJOB owners, for fixing whatever you fixed. It's enjoyable now, and Bob's happy. So there's that. Let's go right back to the calls. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Good morning, sir. Responding to the last comment of the last caller, investing in AI, it's like the old adage of if there was a gold rush, don't go out mining for gold. Go invest in picks and shovels. That's kind of the way I look at AI right now. So one of the hottest companies right now is a old name, Hewlett Packard's, making servers.
Okay.
And they're doing really, really well. So, I mean, I liked his last comment. To comment on like all these new data centers, I thought it was interesting that one of the callers thought it was Trump's fault. Maybe because of all the people streaming all of his clips and laughing at some of the jokes he tells, but 40% of everything that's happening in data centers right now, it can be attributed to cloud storage.
Okay.
And that's been a big thing for the last, decade or so. People have gotten rid of the servers. I'm sure the city of Dyer has gotten rid of their servers, and they now are cloud stored. Everything's cloud stored. I'm sure that's the case.
Well,
most companies are doing that.
Yes, I will say for us in particular, I know we have had that conversation back and forth as to, okay, do you, because everything is just massive in size now. All of the data that even a small bedroom community like Dyer, it kicks out, is just a huge amount of data. And there, at some point, it then no longer becomes cost effective to have all of this equipment on site when you can quite literally, for a relatively low amount of money, just get terabytes and terabytes and terabytes of cloud storage. Then it all goes up there. And then if the physical computer you're working on, it craps out on you, you plug a new one in, you hit the Wayback Machine, and in an hour, everything's back to the way it was. And so I even look at myself over time. I'm an Apple user. I've gone from hey, we'll give you 100 gigabytes of cloud storage, and then it was 500 gigabytes, and then it was a terabyte, and now I'm up to, just for the family plan, up to 4 terabytes of storage, just for my family, just for the random pictures that we take. So if that is, I think I've got 4 users, myself, my wife, my dad, and my sister are on our plan. So just 4 people are using 4 terabytes, and only 2 of us are really picture takers. It's not like my dad's out there, snapping 30,000 pictures. And that, to your point, that's been in the last 5 years of just this, a couple of random folks from the Midwest are using terabytes of data now.
Search, web, social media, all that kind of stuff, messaging only accounts for 25% of data center use. I mean, that's the high end. It's 15 to 25%. But the majority is cloud backup for people, and streaming is about 30% as well. So, like, to the previous caller's comment, few people he knows does Netflix. I mean, everyone is streaming. Cable is dying, and people are now streaming. Like, maybe they're going on YouTube and streaming videos, or they're using some sort of streaming service, but that is one of the big things. So, the big mystery of what that data center is, it's the cloud everyone's been talking about for the last 15, 20 years. That's where all the data is being stored, right there. Anyway, I just thought I'd call it and help make it understandable.
I appreciate it, because one of the comments I made to one of the previous callers is, if they ever did decide, and I'll repeat this, if they ever did decide to come to, first thing I would do is I would go visit a few of them, visit a brand new one, and then visit one that's been around for 4 or 5 years to see, okay, what are the physical properties of these plants. But I would want to know, hey, what's going to, and all that totally makes sense. And what you said, I will I will probably parrot that going on to the future, because I didn't, that was the assumption.
This is all going to be, obsolete probably in the next few years, because Elon Musk is supposed to be rolling out some sort of data center in space concept, and it can be cooled. It can be actually energized from solar power, and can be cooled by space.
Well, it's like negative 400 degrees up there. So you slap one of them bad boys on the moon, you're getting the sunlight and the cooling. And that I did see somewhere, this is totally random, I did see somewhere, I think it was Microsoft, somewhere in Asia, was putting their server farms in,
offshore.
Yes, offshore and in the water, and I thought that was pretty cool. But to that point, I don't know if that's an experiment, like, let's see how this works, or if it's something viable, because again, Lake Michigan is extremely deep. Man, put it out there. Why do you have to put it? Again, just steps from someone's house in Munster. I don't know. And I'm not saying I was opposed to it. I just, something to ponder.
All right. Well, have a good day.
Hey, have a good one. Any more calls? Look at that. 726. We ran through them all. I think if everything goes well with the traffic, I think I may have one of our county council members, Randy Niemeyer, stopping in here for a little bit at 7:40, 7:45. A little after 8, we've got the Village of Lansing coming in to talk about Fox Point, and then you can join myself, hopefully Randy Niemeyer, and Elise Nishala, our state comptroller, at 8:30 for a paid program by the Lake County Republican Party, the Region Republican Show, hosted by me, and we'll talk to Elise about budget surpluses, national deficits, and all the things that she's doing there. 219-845-1100. Give us a call, because otherwise you got to listen to me. So in the meantime, I'm going to go back to flock cameras. So this is me just talking. This is not me saying, hey, this is 100% what Bob's going to put his stamp on, and let's see it in a postcard in a flyer that says, "Hey, Bob believes this." Bob is just saying this. I'm just asking the questions. So there's two different types of cameras out there in existence. There's the traditional LPRs that really kind of took off about 10 years ago. Relatively passive. They use OCR, or optical character recognition, and basically, but the difference between license plate readers and these flock cameras are, think of it this way: license plate readers is I know the plate, flock cameras is I know the car. So where now, if we're using LPRs, the department or the agency, they have to know some part of the license plate number. And so maybe not the whole thing. They can search, a partial plate. And I know that's been extremely helpful. That really has been a just a huge part of all of these border communities: Munster, Dyer, Hammond. I think Hammond, if it was Blue Shield, Blue Net, Blue something, they started quite some time ago. And then because of that success, it then spread. And it is so useful in that, look, resources are limited. So if I can have my department out on the streets patrolling, being a deterrent, and they can get a notification that says, hey, this car here is wanted in respect to some crime or whatever, and they can be alerted when it comes into town, I do not have a problem with that. Now, before the crowd starts saying, well, yeah, but these cops, what if one of them has a bad relationship and now they put the license plate of the, their spouse and the. I know it's I don't know. It is what it is for the same reason that I don't know. Everything you do, I guess what I'm confused with, if any of these deflock people want to call in, the only explanation so far that I've heard is, look, yes, we drive a car with Sirius radio that knows where we're at any given time, knows if we're hard braking, knows where we're going, but we chose to do that. Yes, I know I'm complaining on Facebook about it, on my mobile device, which I bought. I agreed to these things. I signed up for a social media account. I agreed to these things. And that if I really wanted to, if I didn't, if I then, after doing all of these things, everything we do leaves a digital imprint. You go get a prescription and you irritate someone. And should they do it? No. Just like, should cops, look up their, X's, where have they been driving? No. But you go get a prescription. There's a long list of, hey, look, all these things now we can know about people. And so aside from the idea of, yes, but we didn't consent to being tracked, I guess help me with the argument of everything we do in our lives, we're completely tracked, but now this one camera on Kennedy Avenue is the worst thing in the world, and we need to cut it down. I think it's kind of silly when folks say, well, I'll just, that's why I don't have a new car. I have a 1992 Ford Focus that has zero tracking in it. I can leave my car at home. I won't take my car because license plate readers, there was never an issue with that. So you're just going to walk somewhere, and then it's like, well, why is that a big deal? I'm not saying hey, if you're not doing anything wrong, you don't have to worry. I'm not saying, because that's a garbage line to begin with. But I don't know. Help me out with why all of a sudden everything's so wrong with it. I'm not saying I agree or disagree. I'm just saying, tell me what you think. But we do have a caller, and who knows? We're talking AI, we're talking data centers, and we're talking ducks this morning. So, caller, What do you have for us?
Yeah, I don't know if you've ever seen the movie Brazil. Came out back around 1980 with De Niro.
No.
It was all about a futuristic sci-fi movie about runaway AI.
Okay.
And what could happen. Okay. There was another movie, Minority Report, pre-crime.
Yeah.
There's been cases already where people have shown up on a list, get pulled over at gunpoint by police, and all it was a computer error. So if there's no oversight on any of this stuff, if it just runs away, you don't know, it could go to bad places. I think that what you need is oversight. I don't see a whole lot of effort on the part of anybody to limit the kind of surveillance they're talking about and actually using on the American people.
Well, and some folks have asked me about that. They said, hey, in Dyer, what happens with the data? And it's just not a question I've asked yet. My understanding is most of the data that comes in is stored for about 30 days and then just gets dumped because, like the last caller we were talking about, the amount of storage that this stuff takes is, pretty big. So it has about a 30-day storage on it. I think that is the actual Flock system. There are other systems that are out there. And...
I don't know if you've ever been a victim of identity theft or somebody screwing up on a computer someplace, but I have. I remember getting a notice from the IRS one time that there was a problem with the income tax return my wife and I down in Dallas, Texas turned in, which is sort of interesting to my wife. But this is with dinosaur type of AI, let alone the kind of stuff they're talking about doing now. They'll literally have everybody in a box someplace. Every 330 million people in this country will have a profile, and they'll be monitored 24/7. And what could go wrong, right?
Yeah, what could possibly go wrong? Now, to this I say, and maybe the Flock camera is the tipping point. Maybe this is the straw that broke the camel's back, and people said, "Hey, enough is enough." I guess where I get it's puzzling to me is as if there is not this, massive file out there on you anyways. Now, I'm not talking some, Hoover file in a manila envelope somewhere. I'm just saying that if someone wanted to compile data on you, everything is already out there. How many times... maybe in the last 5 years, how many times have folks gotten letters in the mail saying, "Oh, your health care information is breached," and what's involved with that? Well, your name, address, date of birth, social security number, any of your health care identifiers. That was in a breach, and we're sorry, and we will provide Experian and TransUnion coverage for you for a year. And so for all of this data that goes out there, I have zero doubt that as a council member, when I go and I ask, I say, "Hey, give me all of your security and safety information." They'll tell you, "Oh, it's all locked secure, nobody can hack into it." But somewhere someone's going to hack into it, and eventually they'll get a letter that says, "Yeah, hey, Bob, we caught your face at the corner of 30 and Calumet going into the Jewel. Our bad." So maybe that's the concern.
I remember there was a comedy skit one time a while back about this kind of thing. Unless there's a real massive oversight on this, where some guy walks into like a Strax or something like that, goes to buy a bag of chips, and it won't ring up on the register because it tells them, your medical profile shows that your cholesterol is way over, you're 30 pounds overweight, your blood pressure is too high. So your e-money is not going to work purchasing this because you're just too fat.
I feel like you're talking to me. I feel like you're talking to me here. And that where was I at over the weekend? I was somewhere over the weekend. Maybe there's an AI camera that could remind me where I was at. But there was a thing on the window that said, "Hey, cash and card." I'm sorry, not cash. Credit and debit are preferred because the penny went away and we're getting away from cash. So let's pretend Chuck was here and let's put on our conspiracy theory hats. It's like, are you moving in that direction? where it's like, hey, we're a cashless society. Let's go to a digital ID, a digital currency. Everything's out there, and then it all kind of pools together. And for your safety, again, I'm pretending to be Chuck now because he's my conspiracy theory. Though I love conspiracy theories. Someone text me about Building 7 sometime, but the question I have is, you're right. If for the good of Bob, is somebody out there going to one day say, hey, Bob, we know you're going in Jewel, and so we are going to pull up your medical profile. And now the only things you can buy are vegetables, meat. We're going to force you to be on a keto diet. You can't do anything else. Put the ho-hos.
Well, I guarantee you that's going to happen.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I guarantee you that'll happen because your insurance, your health insurance, what people, especially older people, when I don't know what the percentage is, but I would guess anybody over age of 50 is probably about 75-80% of cost to the medical system in this country.
Yeah.
So doggone well they'll have a file on everybody, that they'll know when you're scratching your nose as far as that goes. So yeah, and I think the problem with it is with all of this tech, and they're just chomping at the bit to get this installed. I don't see any kind of equivalent on oversight, not at all.
Right.
And doggone well, it's going to lead to massive kind of confusion. And people are going to run over by this thing like Bambi getting run over by a steamroller, And I just don't see any kind of effort to try to have oversight.
Good point. Hey, thanks for the call. Appreciate it. We're going to take a little break here to pay some of our bills here on the voice and face of the region.
Tech Credit Union supports the essential role of union labor in building strong communities. That's why we offer hassle-free banking, financial empowerment, and a commitment to your success. Save for the future, handle life's challenges, and trust a partner that stands by hardworking union members. Tech Credit Union, the better option for you and your money. Visit techcu.org or call 800-276-8324. Tech Credit Union, supporting union families every step of the way.
We've had some cars run into the barrier wall, not paying attention. They were on their phone.
Texting, scrolling. Yeah, it's bad. Most often they be on their phones or they're just not paying attention. They can cause a crash.
We could stand on the side of the road and watch every other vehicle looking down into their lap as they're passing us. You know what they're looking at. They're looking at their phone.
Phones. On their phones, not paying attention. Phones.
I'm not a mathematician, but I say probably about 80% of the people who pass me are on their telephones.
No call, text, or video is worth putting yourself or a road worker in danger. When driving through construction, LIUNA members ask you for your sake and ours.
Slow down. Stay off your phone, please. Be aware where we're at, where the cone zones are at.
Stay off your phones and buckle up and drive safe.
We're not asking for much.
This is Brian Short, Business Manager for the Indiana Laborers District Council. Everyone deserves a safe place to work. Do your part in the cone zone. Slow down, save a life. We're all in this together.
A message from Laborers International Union of North America and affiliated locals.
Enjoy the taste of summer at the Farmers Market at Fox Point. Every Tuesday from 9 to 1, shop locally grown fresh produce, delicious baked goods, artisanal treats, and local culinary creations. Just minutes from I-8094, the Farmers Market at Fox Point in Lansing, Illinois is a perfect spot to hear acoustic musicians, stretch with morning yoga, and enjoy community fun throughout the season. To see all vendors and entertainment, visit foxpoint.org. That's point with an E, foxpoint.org.
Plumbers Local 210 is building the future, and we're looking for service plumbers to join our team. Our training center invests nearly $500,000 every year to make sure our members are the best in the industry. From a 5-year apprenticeship and an associate degree at Ivy Tech to ongoing certifications in safety and new technology, our plumbers are trained for excellence. Every member is drug tested and licensed for your safety and peace of mind. When you need plumbing work done, make sure you ask for the license. It's your right to ask.
Welcome back. 7:43 in the region. You're listening to Bob on Chuck Show. Next week, you've got Jim. This Friday, the next couple Fridays is usually myself and Brent. Brent's doing some work up at the Wisconsin State Fair. So for the next couple of weeks on Fridays, I'm going to have a different co-host each time, bringing some guests. And I don't know, just try to keep it interesting. He did ask me to occasionally just throw out, and even mid-sentence, say, a Doc's Barbecue, 1420 Calumet Avenue. It's just something that he asked me to do, and so there's that. But we don't really care about that right now. Good morning, caller. You are on the air. What can we do for you?
So, Dyer, do you have one on Sheffield? Is that your camera over there by the pickleball court?
Down there off just south of 81st. Yes, there's an LPR camera there. There's one at 30 and State Line. There's a new one at on Calumet. That one was put up recently by the Sheriff's Department. And there's one at 30 in Calumet. But I think it's on the same pole as the INDOT traffic camera. But so, we've got that.
The one in Sheffield. Yeah. Let's say I steal a car.
Okay.
And I'm driving down Sheffield, and it picks up the plate as the car being stolen. Will your police department actively chase that car or try to pull it over, or are you selective? I mean, how does the thing work?
So, and I would love to get hang on 1 second for me, because I've got someone in here that may have some thoughts on this. Hang on 1 second for me.
Okay.
We're talking LPRs. I've been listening. Oh, you've been listening. Great. Fantastic.
You have a listener.
I have a listener. I appreciate that. So what'll happen is for Dyer, now I'm not speaking for any of the other communities. I'm just talking about what I know. And if you're not watching, Lake County Councilman Randy Niemeyer just came in, so he's going to join me here for the next half hour, 20 minutes or so. What'll happen is that license plate will get put onto I hesitate to use the word watch list, but it's a list. So that way, when that car passes through our camera system, and it'll say, hey, license plate number 123 ABC was marked as stolen, all of our officers in the car on their data monitors it'll pop up, and it'll say, hey, we just got a hit on this car going northbound on Hart Street past 81st, and they will go look for it. There is not that much of a time delay, so meaning if you drove past, then an hour later, or just walk in my shot, Lynette. Jeez. Sorry, we're
she's trying to fix it because I can't hear anything.
Oh, you can't hear anything. Okay. No. It's odd. So that's how that works for us. Now, I do not know how any of in the future, any of this flock camera integration, where again the LPRs will tell you, LPR is I know your plate, flock is I know your car. So at some point in time, if everything does transfer over to this flock network, and Randy, you can butt in any time if you know something here, is that now instead of our officers needing to know a plate or a partial plate, now they can say, hey, has there been a white work truck, a box cab with a ladder rack? Did it pass through? And so you can do some more car identifiers, but I don't know that that's what we have yet. So,
yeah, I mean, I was listening on the way in, Bob, and I know this is a hot topic, and I tell people, like, if you really want to get rid of this surveillance state, you have to repeal the Patriot Act. That's what it will take. I don't think people should be spied on, but every community I go door to door in, I always tell people, be very careful. Every Ring camera is recording you. Right? There is constant surveillance everywhere we go. It doesn't make it right. There are certain things that are blatant violations of your constitutional rights. So we have to be very careful to make sure that there are good guardrails around all these policies.
Well, I agree with that, but it just seems like all these so-called things that are supposed to improve quality of life and safety, they're not working. I mean, how does somebody in Chicago, they've got those all over, how does somebody in Chicago steal a car and drive it around for 4 months without even changing a license plate and not get pulled over? I guess it comes down to enforcement. Are you going to act on that information?
I have been with our officers when they have gotten those notifications. It quite literally looks like a pop-up. You've all seen them. They've got their data terminals in there, and they've got their screens,
right.
And it'll just pop up, and it'll say, hey, this license plate, hit at 30 in state line. And then they will look. It'll pull up why. Hey, why is this flagged? Is wanted in the connection of some type of crime or whatever. And then they will determine. Hey, are we going to go get this? I
makes sense.
Yeah, and I was going to say I would never want to speak for them, but I have to imagine if they're in the middle of something, and let's say a license plate came up that was tied to someone who had a suspended license, driving while suspended. I trust my guys in dire enough to take a look and say, hey, I'm at a traffic stop doing something here that may not be worth me going.
Right.
But
okay.
Again. So that's what I got.
Randy, I'm sorry you're not running again against Mervan. I thought the party did not back you sufficiently enough. I thought you were fully capable of beating him last time around, and I'm disappointed you're not running again, but I fully understand that, and I wish you well in the future. Thanks, guys.
Hey, thank you. Have a good one. We're going to take a quick 2-second break here so we can work on some audio things here in the studio, and we'll be right back.
We've had some cars run into the barrier wall, not paying attention. They were on their phone.
Texting, scrolling. Yeah, it's bad. Most often they be on their phones or they're just not paying attention. They can cause a crash.
We could stand on the side of the road and watch every other vehicle looking down into their lap as they're passing us. You know what they're looking at. They're looking at their phone.
Phones. On their phones, not paying attention. Phones.
I'm not a mathematician, but I say probably about 80% of the people who pass me are on their telephones.
No call, text, or video is worth putting yourself or a road worker in danger. When driving through construction, LIUNA members ask you for your sake and ours.
Slow down, stay off your phone, please. Be aware where we're at, where the cone zones are at.
Stay off your phones and buckle up and drive safe.
We're not asking for much.
This is Brian Short, Business Manager for the Indiana Labor's District Council. Everyone deserves a safe place to work. Do your part in the cone zone. Slow down, save a life. We're all in this together.
A message from Laborers International Union of North America and affiliated locals.
Life's biggest challenges don't come with a warning. When legal issues arise, whether it's a car accident, personal injury, criminal charge, or representing you before municipal boards, you need a trusted advocate on your side. At Westland & Bennett, we listen first because your story matters. We provide strategic, personalized legal solutions to protect your rights, your freedom, and your future. Peace of mind starts with a conversation. Call 219-440-7550 today for a free consultation.
Do you like to work with your hands, creating something from nothing? Then think about Laborers Local 41. You'll get 432 hours of apprenticeship training, all while earning a wage with benefits and incurring no student debt. You'll travel to different job sites, learn tons of skills, and in a lot of cases, be the first one on and last one off a job site. It all starts at laborers41.com.
Welcome back. I think we got all the audio fixed. So that last caller gave nothing but Randy praise, and he couldn't hear it. So, Randy, your fan out there likes you.
Well, it's rare to have praise like that. Normally, it's criticism and
it's such a shame we paid the guy to say that stuff,
yeah.
and you couldn't hear it.
Damn.
Okay. So we were talking data centers earlier, and Paul Goddard says, Bob, you aren't supposed to reveal the secret locations of our cameras. 30 in State Line, 81st, south of 81st off of Hart Street, one on Calumet, and one on Calumet and 30.
I'm in the practice of trying to stay clear of warrants, so mine never pops up on an LPR.
It never pops up. I am torn because, again, I'm going to ask you this here. What are your thoughts on using those? Because all my law enforcement guys say, hey, look, this is extremely important for us. This is a huge tool. Now, is it possible that if I lived in a community like Winfield, that is surrounded by, no offense, Winfield guys, surrounded by Corn and Crown Point, you're probably okay. But as a border community, and for those of you listening, I mean exactly all the things you're thinking I'm saying here. As a border community, it's extremely important for us to have this. And I can see where places like Dyer, Munster, Hammond, I mean, we have to know, these bad elements that are coming over.
I think it's like any other piece of technology that comes in, is that usually the policy comes on the back end of it. And I think that's where some of this is getting off the rails with these flock cameras, is we don't have good regulatory framework around it. Right. And that's where I think our legislators need to dive in this year in the session and really dial some of that in. And we need to do some things locally, too, to make sure that they're not being abused.
One of the things that I hear is the abuse of it. And it's always just an anecdotal story of, okay, well, what if there's a cop out there who got into an argument with a person? Now they're going to flag their car and track them. Or with AI in Flock, they can track, I don't know what else, but track them somehow. But that's really no different than, what they can do now. But this entire argument has to go on the supposition that there's a bad person doing something wrong. And so I've said you could have that at a pharmacy, at CVS or Walgreens, that says, hey, I'm irritated at this person. Now I'm going to let everybody know that you're on all these different medications for something that maybe you didn't want to tell people you had. But again, that's predicated on somebody doing something bad.
I don't like the idea that, well, if you're doing nothing wrong, you have nothing to worry about.
And right? I've said that. I always thought that was a cop-out argument.
That's a big brother type statement there. That's where I think that governance of these things is really important to make sure that people's constitutional rights aren't being violated.
Hey, we've got some calls. Let's see what you have to say. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Good morning. I'm kind of... I feel that there's a most definite need for LPRs and cameras, and you brought up Winfield. There's still crime in Winfield, but it's a matter of density. Do we need probably more cameras on the state line to cover like the Hammond Blue Net, right? You can't get in and out of Hammond without somebody seeing your license plate or you. And you brought up Ring cameras. There's definitely a need. But you're right. I mean, there are limits. I mean, we all heard on the news that Ring cameras help caught this person or that person, and it's about catching the bad guys. One that I know it's been very successful is in kidnapping. For children and adults, right? With the Amber Alerts, and it's been very successful. And I'm on the road 95% of the day. But, I see the Amber Alerts. I hear it. They come on my phone and things like that. So there's a definite need for cameras, and I think it just needs to be very selective and using a saturation type model in the areas that we need. But that's just my opinion. And there's three things that we sell a lot of in this country. One is arms, two is crude oil, but the number one is our data, our personal data. That is surpassed oil and arms to be exported. Our data that's one of the biggest money makers in this country right now, is our personal data. I mean, especially with a cell phone in your hand. And Randy, I'm going to ask you a question about data centers, and I'm going to hang up and listen. But we drive by a Albert's Diamond Jewelers sign, right? And next thing you know, the ad comes on your phone.
Oh, yeah.
So we're constantly
how many times have you said that? We were just talking about going to Wisconsin Dells, and I'm saying it now on the radio, Wisconsin Dells, and how much you want to bet.
Yep.
I'm sorry, Chuck would like me to say Indiana Beach. But how much you want to bet
Sure.
that at some point today I will go randomly on there and scroll, and it'll be there. Is it coincident? Is it that observer effect where, you go out to buy a car So I went and I bought a Dodge Durango, a white one. I love it. I thought, man, this is the only one I ever see. Now I see them all the time. So I don't know if it's just because
I know it's
said,
happened to everyone. Yeah.
You know,
I look up I'm looking for a new truck, and I'm looking for a certain brand, right, on my phone, and then I turn on my, in air quotes, smart television. What comes up? Nothing but that particular brand commercial. So it's always listening. We're always being monitored. As long as you have a cell phone in your vehicle, on your person, you're being tracked, and you're being tracked, just for the sake of selling your personal data where you are. That's why billboards are so expensive. But I'm going to move on about data centers. Randy, I know the county council is being proactive about this, and I believe you might have had an initial draft of the criteria of future data centers. This is going to exclude Hobart, but pretty extensive from what I've heard. And one of the main things that the county council is working on for future data centers is exit strategy. I don't think anyone thinks about that. We think about initially, what it's going to be, but it's nice to see that the county and you are being proactive about future data centers and the exit strategy, that they're just not going to lock the door and drive away. They're going to have to remediate and clean that property up. If you can elaborate on that, that might alleviate some concerns in Lake County about future data centers. So I appreciate you coming in, and keep trucking.
Yeah, I appreciate that comment and that question. We've actually, it was over a year ago, we adopted our first set of regulations in our special exception ordinance of our Unified Development Ordinance that we added to a little later on a decommissioning part of it. So it's not a draft; it's actually law in Lake County that. Oh,
it was. I just heard of the initial ordinance, and I'm so glad that the entire council, hopefully it was unanimous, because it should have been.
Yeah.
That voted for that, because it's it is about the future, and I'm glad you that's one of the main things you addressed. So with that being said, thanks for coming in, and thanks, Bob, for covering. And I gotta have to get to work.
Yeah, appreciate that. But that decommissioning part of it is it includes a surety, right? So it can be paid for, and some requirements around it. We adopted in Lake County probably some of the most proactive regulations in all of the Midwest when it comes to data centers, including the requirement of closed-loop cooling systems, so we're not draining the water table around there in the unincorporated area. Now, again, we don't have any regulatory authority over Munster or Hobart or anywhere else. It's just the unincorporated. So we're focused on trying to make sure that we have regulations that can monitor the sound too. It includes an independent audit every quarter to make sure that sound at the property line is not more than what our conversation is at 55 decibels. That's a typical conversation. And then there's screening and setbacks, and also the energy supply has to be confirmed, and that the ratepayers won't have to pay for the extra energy. It's a very detailed set of regulations that if you go on lakecountyIN.gov, go on Plan Commission, you can pull it down under our UDO amendments right there and read it for yourself. But we have a lot of regulations around data centers to make sure that we're not picking and choosing what industries get to exist and don't exist, but right. What we're doing is making sure that when they do exist, they exist harmoniously with the people and nature that lives around there. So
I earlier, although you heard this because you're a longtime listener of this show, but you hear me. I said part of me first time caller. Part of me is somewhat relieved that Dyer doesn't really have a space for it. Anything that any of the open land has been purchased. We've got some development stuff going up and down Calumet, so you're not going to find a data center on Calumet Avenue. So anything would have to be in some type of redeveloped area. Now, there's some places on even on Route 30 that if they could acquire, I don't know that anybody would have a problem with. But we also do have a light industrial area in the middle of a residential, and it's like, at some point in time, could you see that? And I said, the first thing I would do is I would want to go to some of these data centers, because you cannot you cannot base your decision based on what some of these chat groups on Facebook are saying, because you'll have one guy post a video and it looks like a scene out of Bambi. The deer are out there, they're playing, the building comes alive, and there's flowers blooming everywhere. And then other ones, it looks like a third world country with 97 diesel generators.
Are you
running in the
telling
background.
me the algorithms give you what you
Exactly,
want to see?
exactly. So when I go on to these, because every time it goes into a community, there's a community group that's then born from that, and it's truth, half-truth, lies, innuendo, it's all of it. So I'd want to go see, because on the outside of it, there does look to be some benefit to some of these communities. And if it's done right, we were talking about Hobart. I mean, Hobart's a scenario where, he may be voted out because of this data center thing. And the next mayor that comes in will get to live off of the largesse of the fact that a data center's there. And then for the next 10, 12 years say, oh, look, we're getting double our budget now every single year. And, Hobart then becomes the land of milk and honey. Look what I've done, when you ousted the guy that did that. I don't know if that's the case. I'm Mayor Josh. I'm not following whatever else you're doing. But there's that thought of, it does look really good on paper. Now, what I would have suggested, and again, I don't know what they're doing, is, you get that money, start putting that away. It's huge sums of money. Live off the interest. It's more money than you would have ever gotten before. And that way, at some point in time...
Josh has talked about that you could, with the right investment strategy, create $1 billion endowment for a city.
Which,
That's
that
insane,
right there.
right?
And, especially a place like Hobart that... I will say got hosed on the mall reassessment deal. But I just mean hosed, whether it was right or wrong. It's just they had this money they thought they were going to have, and then they didn't. So then you have to figure out what to do with that. I would say the same thing. Look, SB1, SCA1 is cutting money everywhere. As much as a proponent of getting rid of property taxes as I am, I am all for that. If you follow me on social media, you'll see why I'm for that. But
I think he just winked at me.
I did. I did. I do that every once in a while. Sometimes I'm like, man, I got a good wink coming on. Where's Randy? But it's that idea of, look, when we say no more property tax, we don't mean that you're not paying them, or it's just finding different ways to fund it, because police, parks, and paving, that's really the only thing that we're required to do. Everything else is quality of life stuff that the community more or less dictates. And so, you're coming up with these mandatory cuts from the state with, this property tax reform that they just did, with no backstop other than to say, in a couple of years, if you guys want, you could do an income tax. Something like this is a different way to fund things.
I think it's like any other development, though. You have to be thoughtful in your regulatory environment around it, right? It's not about... I hate the word control in government, because that is Marxism. I like the word governance.
Yeah.
Like, where people give us input. And part of the way that we developed our framework in Lake County was we were watching what was going on in Hobart, saying, okay, we've got to figure this out. First thing we did was no NDAs, right? I don't think public officials should be signing those.
Yes.
But if we go back through the history of our country and we look at economic infrastructure, the expressways that was under Eisenhower's administration cut through farms all over the country, disrupted life, and it was not easy. That was a very difficult public works project that changed the American economy forever, connecting the East Coast to the West Coast with a system of expressways. And Eisenhower was inspired by the Autobahn in Germany. And it was really started to move military equipment from east to west. But it became that economic infrastructure, and say, well, what is a data center? As you were describing earlier with your family having 4 terabytes, see, I do listen. This is economic infrastructure.
Right.
So the thing that we have to figure out is how do we make sure that we develop an environment around it that doesn't disrupt life as much as you can. And I think that's what we're doing in Lake County is we took our time with this first one. We're actually updating the regulations more. to fine tune a couple things to make sure that all of those considerations are made. And again, the most important thing was no NDAs. And government can't just be about ringing the cash register, right? We've got to look at the whole picture. And if there's a good economic development plan around it, then it's something that can benefit the communities.
Yeah,
it's something you got to look at.
It's tough because, again, if somebody came to me and said, hey, we want to put something in your community that will, in essence, for X amount of years, double your income. I mean, I tell you what, if you're not at least listening, then make your decisions later on based on the impact. But
no difference than if somebody was building a shopping center in your community. You have regulations around that.
Oh, we do. And I've mentioned that.
You do it the right way.
Calumet Avenue is a great example now. We are on the cusp of making a pretty good announcement that we've got a developer coming in to put some really cool things in on Calumet Avenue. New to not only Dyer, not only Lake County, but new to Indiana here on Calumet Avenue, about $280 million. 20% of Dyer's assessed value we're going to start moving dirt on, and by we, I mean the developers, going to start moving dirt by this fall.
It's awesome.
And, I mean, we're talking restaurants, new commercial retail spots, getting a nice hotel, some really awesome residential spots. I'm telling you, it's going to be pretty big. But again, we've done that. Someone came in and said, hey, right now, this is all public information on the tax. Right now, all that farm property on Calumet Avenue between 213th and 30 was paying about $26,000 a year in taxes. And now someone knocked on our door and said, I want to invest $250 million in that area. I was like, okay, when do you want to have that meeting? And there were some things that we said, that's not maybe a good fit.
But I think the thing that people miss about the tax part of this, right, the revenue picture of this, is that let's say that $250 million comes in, and what will that generate yearly in tax revenue?
Oh, much more. Even with a developer-backed TIF bond, where we give them 80 or 90%, which is fairly standard for that deal, we're still going to make a little over 10 times the amount of tax revenue that we're generating now.
So if you just dumped all of that assessed value into the system without some sort of an economic development deal, which it seems that you're working on, you don't get any cash. This is what a lot of people don't understand, is that if you dump $1 billion into the system, it's not like all of a sudden every unit gets to split up this cash that comes in.
Right.
We're limited by that maximum levy growth quotient, and that's determined by the DLGF on a yearly basis, and that has been a mess here the last
because they know what they're doing.
They know what's best for us, right, down in Indianapolis. But nonetheless, these sorts of economic development projects like you're talking about, you still have a regulatory environment around it. You still have processes, procedures, guardrails. That's what we're doing in Lake County with our data center ordinance, is trying to make sure that whatever is built, whether it's a data center, a hotel, a truck stop, that it's done the right way. Yeah. And that we're making sure that all those contingencies are put in place.
Well, you heard it here, folks. Randy Niemeyer, he's on it. We're going to take a quick break. Jed's going to come back with Michelle from the Village of Lansing. They're going to talk about some things that are going on at Fox Point here in the next week or so. And then in about 20 minutes, Randy and I are going to come back. I'm assuming you're coming back.
Yeah, I'll be here.
Randy and I are going to come back with Elise Nishala, our state comptroller, who is waiting in the parking lot. And we're going to talk about not only her campaign, but all the things that she is doing in her position. So thanks, everybody, for listening. On the socials, try to find Mad Mac out there and keep up with the Duck Saga 2026. I don't know, some duck thing he's been doing. That's all I got. Have a good one. See you in a bit.
Fishing for a seafood meal without the stress or mess of cooking? Leave the work to the Strachan Van Til Seafood Department.